I want to talk about one thing as we're going through this. A few people have mentioned it, and this comes up a lot in the Facebook groups, is why are vegetables cooked at such a high temperature? And that's because they don't really tenderize at lower temperatures. I thought I would have a nice visual aid here. So I threw these carrots in at 150 degrees this morning at 7 in the morning, and just pulled them out right before the showcase started. So these have been cooking for about 7 hours at 150, and you can see it is still very, very crunchy. It's got some of that good crunch in there, right in all your ears. So after 7 hours at 150, they are still very crunchy and almost raw tasting. They don't really tenderize quickly at all. You need these high temperatures in order to break them down and really start to allow them to the different components to tenderize and to become something that we generally consider cooked. When I went to Korea, they talk about the different components of the vegetables, and some of them start to break down around very, very slowly at these temperatures. This doesn't taste raw, but it's pretty close. At like 170, 180, they start to break down more quickly, and you're going to have it's going to taste cooked, but not like a traditional steamed or boiled vegetable. And then once you get above 183, other things start breaking down, and above 185, everything starts breaking down. And so that's where if you cook your vegetables at 183, you kind of get this magic mix between 183 and 185, where they're tender and they have good bite and give to them, but they are still not mushy. They're not fall apart. They're not squishy, which is why I've really been enjoying sous vide carrots lately at 183, 184. They're just amazing to eat at that temperature. And that's why the higher you go, then the faster it cooks above 185. So a lot of people do 190, 195 because you reduce some of the cook time for tenderizing it. So it's just something to keep in mind as you're doing vegetables. That's why you need to do a higher temperature, and why you can't do vegetables and meat at the same time, because you really don't want meat cooked at 190, 195, unless you're using a pressure cooker, I believe Patty said earlier that what she likes to do is she cooks the vegetables ahead of time, cools them off and chills them, and then she reheats them when when the steaks are done the next day. That's a great way to do it, something that I've done. Your vegetables will store in the bags in the refrigerator for a week or two, which is great. And then when I pull the steaks out, I'll throw the vegetables in. And by the time the steaks are seared, the vegetables have been reheated. And if you're doing more complicated dishes, Stefan Boer from Stefan's Gourmet does this when he's doing Italian classics. He will do like a ragu sauce, and he'll cook all the vegetables into the sauce ahead of time, cool it off, and then seal it with the meat. And then he'll sous vide that long term, because the vegetables can break down a little bit. And it doesn't matter because they're already been cooked and they're already ready to go. So that's a few approaches to it. But you can't really just throw it all in at 135, because the vegetables will never be tender, and you're going to have kind of warmish, raw tasting vegetables that aren't going to be very good. So I wanted to talk about that just because it's something that comes up a lot and people are curious about it. And this is the Sous Vide Vegetable Showcase.